Yes, my dear children. Today I will share something that is more than just a tale. It is a profound lesson for life. This story reveals why so many of us stay trapped in the same place and how mastering your own mind can change everything. In a quiet village, there lived two friends. They grew up together, played together, and shared the same grand dreams. As they became men, they both sought greatness, wealth, honor, and success. They tried many things, business after business. At times, it felt like they were finally on the edge of victory. But then it would all crumble. Losses, bad decisions, the cold hands of fate. They failed. Bitterness took root in their hearts. Instead of looking inward at their own flaws, they began to point fingers. It was your mistake. You weren't focused. The bond of their friendship, once so strong, began to fray. It was in this moment of darkness that they heard a whisper from the villagers. Far away, across the hills, lived a monk, a man of deep meditation and silence, yet a man who gave the right words at the exact moment they were needed. A flicker of hope returned. They thought to themselves, "We have followed our own path for so long, and it has led us to ruin." Slowly, perhaps it is time to seek the wisdom of one who truly sees. The sun was beginning to soften as the two friends finally reached the monk's hermitage. It was late afternoon, and a deep silence filled the air. The ashram felt so peaceful, as if the worries of the world were not allowed to enter there. The two friends sat before the monk and opened their hearts. They spoke about their failed businesses, how they started with high hopes and ended in ruin every single time. They didn't hide their frustration or the pain buried deep inside them. The monk listened in silence. Then, in a calm, steady voice, he spoke. "Listen, my children. I will give you a task. If you can complete it, I will give you a lesson so precious that it will change not just your business, but your entire life. And yes, you will find the wealth you seek." Hope sparked in their eyes. They thought, "We have taken so many risks, done so much work. What task could be too hard for us? We can surely do this." With newfound confidence, they agreed immediately. The monk pointed towards the distant mountains and said, "Deep within those woods, a rare flower grows. Its scent is so powerful that you can smell it from far away. It is called the pariyat. Can you find this flower and bring it to me?" Driven by the hope of becoming rich, the friends agreed once more. Their minds were fixed on one thing. This task would change everything. Then the monk gave his final command. "Go tomorrow morning, take everything you need, but remember one thing. You must return before the sun sets." Early the next morning, the two friends woke up before dawn. Remembering the monk's words, they packed their essentials and headed toward the mountains. Their hearts were filled with a single thought. If they succeeded today, their lives would change forever. But as they reached the foot of the mountain, reality hit them. From afar, the mountain looked green and peaceful, but up close, it was a dense, dark forest. No humans lived there, no familiar sounds, only an eerie silence. For a moment, Fear gripped their hearts, but they gathered their courage and stepped into the deep woods. To cover more ground, they made a decision. If we go in different directions, they thought, one of us will surely find the flower faster. So they split up. The first friend had not gone far when he saw some rare, delicious fruits hanging from a tree. They looked so tempting. He knew these fruits were expensive in the market. Greed took over. I could make a good profit from these, he thought. He gathered some fruits and moved on. But the deeper he went, the darker it became. The sunlight couldn't even reach the forest floor. Suddenly, he reached a river. There were no boats, no bridge. He looked at the rushing water and hesitated. He whispered to himself, "My friend will probably find the flower for both of us. Why should I take such a risk? I'll just enjoy the beauty of this river and head back later." And so he stopped right there. Meanwhile, the second friend was struggling. The deeper he went, the more exhausted he became. His body felt heavy, and every breath was a struggle. Then he heard them, the strange, terrifying roars of wild animals echoing through the trees. Fear paralyzed him. He thought, "I cannot go any further, but it's okay. My friend is strong. He will surely find the flower and bring it back for me." And just like that, out of fear and laziness, he too decided to turn back. One by one, the two friends returned from their separate paths and reached the monk. Their faces were tired, and their eyes were filled with uncertainty. They sat before him and confessed everything: where they had stopped, why they couldn't go further, and how they finally decided to give up. The monk listened carefully, but surprisingly, he said nothing. He didn't ask a single question. He only said in a calm voice, "Now take some rest." But you see, my dear grandson, the monk had a secret. Without telling the friends, he had already sent one of his young disciples for the same task that morning. A little later, footsteps were heard. The disciple was returning from the forest. In his hand was the rare, fragrant flower. His face was peaceful, and his eyes shone with a quiet strength. The monk called the two friends and asked the disciple in front of them, "Tell me, did you see any valuable fruits on your way? Did you have to cross a river? Did you hear the sounds of terrifying beasts? Or did you ever feel tired?" The disciple bowed his head and replied softly, "No, Master. I had fixed my mind so firmly on my goal that I saw no fruits, no river, and felt no fear or laziness. My only purpose was to find the flower and bring it to you." The monk nodded, satisfied. He turned to the two friends. There was no anger in his eyes, only deep compassion. He asked, "My children, have you received your lesson?" The friends lowered their heads in shame. "Yes, Master," they whispered. "We have found our answer. We understand our mistake today." Then the monk spoke words that they would never forget. "You want to succeed, but you do not want to feel the pain of success. You want to move forward, but you give up at the smallest hurdle. You do not believe in yourselves. If the mind is not steady, a small pebble feels like a mountain. But if you fix your mind, even the tallest mountain becomes a path. Fix your mind, and you will reach your destination." The friends realized that their failure wasn't because of the forest or the river, it was their own minds. They left with a new light in their hearts. They learned to be steady, they learned to work hard, and they never looked back. And from that day on, their lives changed forever. They lived the rest of their days in peace, success, and true happiness.